If you've been struggling to delegate, I'm going to give you 3 ways to support you in delegating efficiently and effectively. Okay. And so I love all things delegation. I think it's a kingdom principle. For those of you who don't know, just go over to Exodus 18 and see how Jethro told Moses that if he doesn't implement delegation, right? If he doesn't delegate, he's not only going to wear himself out, but he's also going to harm the people who he was called to lead, the people who he was called to serve. And so I need y'all to understand it. When you say no to delegation, when you hesitate on delegation, when you say, I got this, I can do it by myself, I don't need no support. When you say things or think things like, nobody can do it like me, nobody can do it better than me, I'm going to save time if I just do it myself versus like training someone on this. You have to understand that when you say these things or think these things, not only are you setting yourself up for burnout, you're setting yourself up to be overwhelmed, and you're also hindering the people who you're called to serve, the people who you're called to lead. And we see that in Exodus 18. And so I want to tell y'all the 3T method. And I actually just heard of this 3T method. This is just another way of you doing it. But some of these things are what I talk about in the Align Week webinar when it comes to delegation. And so if you're struggling to delegate, here are 3 different ways that you can make the decision easier. Okay. And so the first T is tedious task. Tedious tasks. These are things that are draining your energy, but they still need to get done. This can be something as simple as inbox management. Like if you're someone who's getting 50 emails a day, hundreds of emails a day, these emails got to get answered. But it's like, ugh, this is just something that I don't need to be doing, right? Or it could be something as simple as you're building out this system or this process, or your strategic planning is something that is maybe tedious for you. And you're just like, this is hard. I don't want to do this. And our brain usually runs to comfort, right? And because our brains usually run to comfort, if there's anything that is hard or is going to cost us more time or energy, our brain is literally going to cause us to run to something more comfortable. And so instead of us doing that tedious thing on the spot, we usually focus on something that's easier, that's on our task list, right? And so when you're delegating, you can literally delegate the tedious task. Something that may be hard for you, but someone else can do it. Something that may not be too hard, but it's like, it's annoying because it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I running a 6-figure, 7-figure company and I'm still doing this? Like, get somebody else to do it. Okay. And so that's the first thing you need to consider. What are the tedious things that you're doing that you don't necessarily have to do, and delegate that? The second thing are the time consuming tasks. And so these are tasks that obviously is going to take up too much of your time, but they don't require your expertise, right? And so, for example, if you're someone who's building out your company and you're building out all of the things, and you're like, man, I need to write SOPs on everything. I need to write SOPs on everything, but you don't want to do the SOPs. It's going to take forever for you to build out and create all of the SOPs that you actually need to really support your business, right? To really train up somebody else, all of the things, and you're like, I don't want to do it, right? Some things can be delegated or outsourced to a person that's on your team, or you can hire a virtual assistant or executive assistant to support you in these areas. There are other things that can be automated, right? And so for something like a time consuming task, such as like writing a bunch of SOPs, there's tools like Tango, where you can literally begin the task that you're doing for the last time, right? You can begin to do this task, and in Tango, they'll literally record your screen as you're doing it, and they'll have a visual SOP of it, and it'll give you a written SOP. And there's so many different features within it, but now you're doing it for the last time, and now you also have your exact process in the SOP format for now someone else to take this over. So now you're never having to actually even implement the thing that you just recorded the SOP for. And now you have a proper training to get somebody else to do it, right? So we had tedious tasks, the time consuming task, and the third T is teachable tasks. Repetitive tasks that someone else can do once they are trained on it. And so right now, you may be the only one who can make a decision, right? If you can teach someone on your team how to make the decision, you know what I'm saying? So if you're getting like someone on the team and they're constantly asking you the same thing, and you're like, I need to train somebody else so I'm not the bottleneck and I'm not the middleman, right? Let me tell somebody else like, hey, this is my thought process. When someone comes to me with this question, this is my thought process. This is how I think about it. This is what I need to know. These are the details I need to know in order to make a good decision, in order to finalize the decision. This is the things that I consider. These are the costs that I count, these things, right? And so teachable tasks are things that you can literally still use Tango, build out an SOP, train someone on. If you're someone who's like, hey, I'm not trying to write no SOP or do none of that, you can literally get somebody on a Zoom call, or you can voice note somebody however like best they learn, and you can now teach someone how to do it. You can easily hop on a Zoom call, a Google Meet call, a Teams call, and you can literally show them like, hey, this is how I do this. I need you to do it now. Okay. And so if it's teachable, delegate it, because you don't have to do it, because you can just get somebody else to do it. And if you train them properly, now you don't have to worry about nobody can do this like me. Now you don't have to worry about I should just do it myself, because now if you spend the last time recording the process and you give it to somebody else, now you're saving time every week or how often you were doing that task. And now they're taking it over. So now you save an hour a week. Now you're saving 3 hours a week. Now you're saving 15 hours a month, and you're not doing these tasks. So that's what I want you to think about. I need you to audit as a CEO. I need you to audit your day. Pick one day, and I need you to list out all of the things that you do. I tell this to everybody who asks me, like, I think I need to hire somebody, but I don't know what to actually give them, but I know it's too much on my plate. The first thing I tell them to do is audit their day. You need to figure out what it is that you're actually doing. And once you have a list of all of the things that you're doing, you need to now, I tell the people who I support or who ask me, I'm like, you need to write A, if it can be automated through some type of a platform. D, if it needs to be delegated or outsourced to somebody else on your team or somebody who you may need to hire in the future. And then you can put an M or your initial to say, only I can do this. Only I am comfortable in doing this. But make sure it's not only I'm comfortable in doing this in the sense of like, I got to control this area, right? If somebody can do it better than you, if somebody can do it as 80% as good as you, if somebody can be trained in doing it, give it to them to do, so you can focus on the vision work, so you can focus on the strategy work, and they can actually focus on the implementation and execution. And so that's the 3 T's of delegating, y'all. If y'all need support, just message me and I'll be happy to assist you with it. And if you're needing someone who can execute, if you need an executive assistant or someone who understands like online business management, process improvement, project management, team management, hit your girl up. All right. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.